What is up, guys? Welcome. Fuck that. Repeat a track. What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we're gonna talk about my perfect Need for Speed game and whether Payback is my perfect Need for Speed game. Now, this is coming from some of my favorite Need for Speed games in the whole series. I'd say my favourite game out of the whole series, probably Underground 2. Looking back on it now, if that was re-released in current day, it would probably not be as good as we all remember it. But my favourite game in the series, quite easily, Underground 2. Underground 2 is the reason why I've started gaming. It's the reason why I'm into cars nowadays. It's the reason for a lot of things that kind of moulded me in the person I am today. And that might sound weird because, it's a video game and stuff. But, it's just true. When I was a little kid, I'd come home, have some toast, and then play Underground 2 until I need to go to bed, and that was just what I did as a kid. And then I used to go out with friends every now and then, but that was it. Underground 2 was my childhood, and that is one of the reasons why it is one of my favorite Need for Speed games of all time. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, just because I like the Underground series, my perfect Need for Speed game would be Underground 3, because it wouldn't. This is not coming from a selfish standpoint. This is coming from a standpoint of trying to please as many people as possible, make the best game as possible, and just be good. Now, if you know who Karoo is, he's a streamer. He's a Need for Speed primarily streamer. He kind of did a similar thing, and he talked about his favorite Need for Speed game. And to put it, simply and shortly, he basically said he'd combine Pro Street with Carbon, pretty much. He'd have the legal street racing in the daytime and then the illegal street racing at night time, and he'd mix the best of both worlds. And you'd kind of live a double life. So in the day, you're Ryan Cooper doing Pro Street racing, and then at night you're doing underground illegal street racing with cops at night only. Now, it's not personally what I would do, to be honest. In my opinion, you've got to focus on one, and you've got to do one. I don't feel like that would particularly work. Would you be chased by police in the daytime? How would the story work? Is the police it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me just to have the police only chase you at night and not in the daytime, because you're still a criminal. So if you're a criminal, how are you racing in Pro Street? Okay, those are just some simple criticisms, but that's not what I would do. Now, I'll link Karoo's thing down below, so if you do want to go ahead and watch his video about what the perfect Need for Speed game is, you can do that in the description. But I'm gonna outline what my perfect Need for Speed game is right now. So right, first things first, the starter cars and the car list generally. I want to see everything in this game, and by everything I don't mean racing trucks. I'm looking at you, Forza. The starter cars, I think in the modern day, a Corsair and a Clio are perfect. This is coming from a UK standpoint, so I don't really know much about American scrap cars, but in the UK at least, Clio, Corsairs, Megans, those types of things. It'd have to start at the bare minimum, and I'd say put around 100 cars in the game. Need for Speed's never really strayed over 120-ish, so 100 cars is enough for me. Have everything in there: Euro, hatchbacks, supercars, hypercars, muscle cars, tuner cars, everything. Have a bit of a tuner bias in there because my game will be based around customization and stuff. But have a big variety. 100 cars is a lot of cars in the end of the day. It's not Forza amount of cars, but it's still a lot of cars. So I'd have around that many cars in the game, and yeah, I'd have a big variety, I guess. Every single car needs body kits, whether that's Ghost or not Ghost, doesn't matter. Every single car in the game needs customization. It needs at least 3 or 4 body kits on option, so that's 3 or 4 bumpers for each car. So the front bumper, the rear bumper, and the back bumper all have 4 different variants, etc, etc. Customization is a really big point in my game, and I'm going to go on about specifics of the customization I'd like to see in a minute. But yeah, each car needs customization, and that's including interior customization, because I think that would be really cool for the Need for Speed series. Would I, rather have them spend time on that now in the next game and not have body parts? No. But I think for my ideal game in my head, interior customization would be awesome. MOBO steering wheels, Sparko seats, G-Ready boost gauges and HKS boost gauges, all that kind of stuff will be absolutely sick. And in terms of customization, just pretty much ram as much as you can in the development cycle. I want to see bags, I want to see neons, I want to see doors, I want to see everything you can possibly do. Engine customization, changing the rockers of your engine, changing, the engine neon, all that kind of stuff. I want to see as much customization as physically possible. And that's kind of a very generic comment, but I've left it generic on purpose. There's a lot you can do with the customization, and it's kind of a really broad topic. It's a video I can make all in itself. So just imagine the customization is really, really good, like really, really in depth. Maybe it's missing one or two of your favorite features, but the customization would be insane. Now, I'm basing this game off illegal street racing only, and the story mode is based on illegal street racing. For me personally, Forza Horizon's Forza Horizon. Need for Speed for me, and what I've kind of attached it to now, is illegal street racing. You know, especially with the reboot and going forward, you know, illegal street racing is kind of what Need for Speed's all about nowadays. So my story and everything else is gonna, you know, follow accordingly. I think my story goes something like this. You have just bought your, like, first car. You're new to the underground racing scene. No one knows who you are. And someone challenges you. He's not particularly high, you know, on the hierarchy of people, but, you know, he's one of the lower end people, but he's like a boss of the lower end sort of thing. So you come in and he's like, I don't like your tone. I don't like how you look. I want to race you. Keep in mind, this is the first race. This is the first race. You've come in your, like, shitty Clio. You don't, like, really know what you're doing. You're just like, okay, I'll race you then. So you race this guy who's, like, on the bottom end, but he's like a kingpin of the bottom. He's like the first boss guy you'll face. And you beat him, obviously. He gets very mad at you, and you're like, whoa, I don't really know, I just beat you. Safe. And that is your way in to the illegal street racing scene. You end up keep getting tied into things. You don't, like, really want to do it, but, you know, you need the money for whatever reason, and you keep going to races, and eventually you become tied to this illegal street racing scene. For me, something like that, a story mode like that, has never really been done in a racing game before. You know, it gives me kind of like Initial D and Most Wanted vibes. It's kind of a mixed match of the two, and you get to the point where you kind of go up the ladders to become a kingpin. At the start, you don't really want a street race, but you need the money for whatever reason. You know, that reason doesn't really matter at this point. And then you get so invested and so, you know, into the scene, you want to become the best. And then let's say the guy at the top tries to take you down. It's a pretty simple story, something which hasn't been done as far as I know. A pretty good premise, if you ask me. To be honest, like, with illegal street racing and stuff, that doesn't really sound something that is too far-fetched. You are brought along to an illegal street race, you have got a normal car, you beat someone who is, you know, much more progressed in the street racing scene, but you are a better skill level. So when it comes to skill versus driver, you're always going to win. I feel like that isn't really too far-fetched, to be honest. And there's all types of little plot lines you could go down, you know, when you come back from the first race, like, you mess with my car, SA, I'm going to take you down! And then he doesn't take you down, and you beat him again, and it's like, oh shit, this guy good. I think everyone already knows that I would want this to be set in Japan. Japan just got the perfect car scene. I feel like something like that kind of story would really fit in Japan as well. Like, you could have a Yakuza storyline, or maybe you could have like an Initial DS storyline where you start in the mountains, like, and you start like doing stuff in the mountains, then you go into the city area where it's a lot more like dense and it's a lot harder and it's a lot more progressed in the storyline. There's a lot of ways you can go about it, but it would definitely be in Japan, and it would have that kind of a gritty storyline. I like where they're going with Payback, and they're kind of going for like a blockbuster action movie thing, but keeping it a bit more homely, keeping it a bit more underground. That's something for me which in a story is just unrivaled, and I would much prefer that. That's not to say that I'm probably not going to enjoy the next one, because I will, but like, that's just in a perfect world, that's probably how I do things. If I was just having to spitball like ideas off the top of my head, you know, I'd like car meets to be a thing. So if you go like to if you remember that one scene in Tokyo Drift where they first go into the multi-story car park and there's just loads of just Jap porn in there, I want to go see something like that. So you go into a car park and there's loads of in real life players who have got all their cars, and you can buy tunes, you can rate their rides, you can do all that kind of stuff, meet friends, go out on races, form parties there. That would be a really cool idea for me, especially like in a Tokyo Drift type multi-story car park. I think that would work really well. You can even have like drift events going on in the car park. So like, whilst you're looking around people's cars, there's actually real life events going on in the car park. This sounds very like far-fetched, and I'm thinking off the top of my head, but that would be really cool. The whole idea of my game is for you to work from the bottom and work all the way up, and I feel like the idea of you coming in as a no one who's just come in to make a quick buck and then actually gets you know, in love and invested with street racing. That's just a very unique story, and I haven't really heard anyone like say anything like that. Now, although the story would be important, I would say honestly the end game is much more important. You know, having like vanity plates and all that kind of tire smoke, which we have seen in Payback, it was announced as one of the pre-order DLCs. Having something like that in like a loot system would be pretty cool. So, you know, if someone's got a specific license plate, it's like, oh, that guy worked hard to get a license plate. Now, I'm not saying have it completely luck based, because that's a bit boring. Have it skill based. Have a ranked system in the game, a ranked Need for Speed Online system. I don't think has ever been seen before. Have an actual proper ranked system similar to Rocket League, similar to Rainbow Six, where, you know, you've got your bottom, which is like copper, and then your top, which is diamond, and you've got ones in between. That to me, again, sounds like a really cool idea. You know, reward the better people. So if you're a diamond, you get like upgraded loot boxes or something, you know. Just basically make it so you reward the good players. In online mode, you know, have your normal circuit races, lap knockout races, sprint knockout races, and, you know, all your like proper racing modes. But alongside that, have, you know, casual. So you've got your ranked, and then you've got casual, and then in casual, you've got your infected, your kings, your cops and robbers, all those playful modes, like car football even, like why not? That's how I do the multiplayer. I'd have like everything just set out in every way. Obviously, in terms of the map itself, I didn't really clear this up earlier on. I wouldn't have it as the whole of Japan. I would just have it as like a kind of fictional Japan. So you've got the city area, which kind of looks like Tokyo. You've got the mountainous area, which kind of reminds you of Akino or Mount Horodon in real life is what it's called. And then you have like a dock area where it's a bit quiet, and that's where street drifters do their thing. And maybe like one little countryside area just to have it there and have it rounded off as 4 separate areas. I think that's a good kind of like basis for how my perfect Need for Speed game would look. If something was to look like that, I don't think I could really ask for much more. There's definitely loads of shit I've probably missed out, and this was a lot longer of a video than I actually expected it to be. But something like this would just be phenomenal. Are we going to see this in the future? Who knows? Hopefully someone from Ghost is watching this. But this is what I would do with Need for Speed. I think the ideas and stuff they're so different, it's so outlandish and so unique. No, I think that would be sick. So yeah, for sure, I think Payback is gonna hit a few of those markers. Not all of them. A lot of it like is very specific to me, like Japan and the story mode. They're definitely not going to hit some of those markers. But a lot of them they are, you know, with the multiplayer and stuff, with Speedless 2.0 coming out there. I remember them a while ago tweeting about that. They've since deleted the tweet. You know, hopefully there is going to be a ranked mode in Need for Speed Payback. But, you know, with a few of those points, they will hit it. With a few of them, they won't hit. And honestly, with a matter of time and you know, time with Ghost, you know, developing as a studio, because obviously they're still very, very new. Hopefully we'll get a perfect Need for Speed very, very soon. Obviously, perfect is like a thing which is never going to be reached, but you get what I mean. Maybe in coming years we will see something like this. Let me know what you think of my idea of a perfect Need for Speed game. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Let me know in the comment section down below. That's been it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have an awesome, stay safe, and peace.